Hi everyone, this is BritSimon. So if you're watching this video, I hope it means you've won the DV2023 lottery. If so, congratulations, that's awesome news. I'm going to give you some information in this video to help you process your case. I'll explain to you what you've won, what you must do in order to get your green card, some tips that I'll give you along the way, and also some things that could be problems in your case, that some things you can resolve, some things you can't resolve. And so I'll be able to give you some information about all of those things. Okay. Let me just tell you quickly about me. I'm now an American citizen. I live in Northern California and I work as a software architect. For about 9 years now, I've been supporting people through the DV lottery process. I don't charge any fees. I do everything I do just for the love of it, as it were. And as you go through your DV lottery journey, you'll hear my name. You'll hear about BritSimon. I would say I'm sort of universally, probably globally, somewhat famous in the DV lottery community. And you'll get to understand why. I believe I offer genuine, helpful, accurate information. There are some other people out there who, perhaps are well-intentioned, but I've been doing this pretty much as long as anyone I know. And I've been helping people since 2013 through my blog and through various access methods to get hold of my information. So I believe that you and I are going to become friendly over the next 18 months or so. So buckle up and let me tell you about the program and what you've won. Okay, so first thing is, I remember, I should probably mention, my wife and I came to America through the DV lottery. And I remember when we won, my wife won, when we won, the instant reaction was, well, pack your bags, we're going to America. And then it slowly set in that actually the process doesn't work like that. There's a long period of time. This process takes time to go through. The results are not guaranteed that you're going to get a green card. You've got to do some things in order to make sure you get your green card. And you have to go through some processes and it takes time, right? So, so don't worry about that. Don't worry about the time so much. Right now, there are some things that you should focus on. And so I can help you through that. But you need to also understand you need to be a bit patient in this process. Okay, so please watch this whole video through. If you don't watch the video, you're going to be missing some very important information. So please do, stay with me for this few minutes and get all the information you can, and then you can figure things out from there. Okay, so the DV lottery every year selects about 100,000 people, a little bit more or a little bit less, out of about 15 million different entries, up to about 15 million or so, and about 25 million people. Every entry that goes in has something like a 1 in 100 chance in most regions of being selected. So the fact that you've been selected is fantastic. It's awesome news, and you need to take advantage of that if you want to live in America. The selection goes out to more people than there are green cards. So there are about 55,000 green cards available through the program. That includes main winners and their family members. Okay, so that includes, for example, let's say dad won the lottery, and he's married and he's got 2 kids. That's a family of 4. That'll be 4 people of the 55,000 visas available. The 55,000 minus 4. It's not just one person. So so the numbers can go, the visas can go in a normal year. And actually what they do is they tend to sort of ration out the work and the process to actually issue all those visas over the full year. So what it means to you is that you've got to do certain things in a timely manner, and then you're going to have to be patient. So it's sort of hurry up and wait, right? So I can guide you through those things though. Very high level of what you're going to do. You're going to fill in your DS260. You've probably already read your winning letter, your letter that you saw on the ESC page, and says congratulations, you're selected for further processing. That doesn't mean they're sending the green card to you in the mail or anything like that right now. That's not what happens. You have to go through the process. So you fill out your DS260. You fill that out for you and every person in your family that is going to emigrate with you. So that means your spouse and your children. You can't take your parents, your grandparents, or anyone like that, your siblings. It's really just your individual little family right now. Or if you're a single person, it's just you. Okay. So you fill out the DS260s for each family member. You submit those electronically, so they're available to a department of the American government called KCC, and they process those DS260s. They do a little bit of background checking and that sort of thing. And then this year, they'll probably revert to a thing called the document procedure, where you have to submit your documents. And they're the regular documents, things like your birth certificate, your passport, your marriage certificate, some basic documents. I'll provide full lists of that, but that's going to be a slightly later stage. So first thing is the DS260, that gets processed, then you send in your documents. And then after that, you'll need to have a medical interview, a medical checkup, which is not particularly difficult, or they're not looking for people who are short-sighted or anything like that. They're just looking to make sure you don't have any diseases that would be a cause of concern as you're emigrating to America. And after the medical, you then have your actual face-to-face interview. But that whole process takes months, at least 6 months from the results being announced. No interviews will happen until the 1st of October 2022, and some interviews will be scheduled as late as September 30th, 2023. So there's a 1-year time processing period during which you'll have your interview, and there's an order of people within that 1-year period, and that order is depending on your case number, okay, which I'll come to in a moment. I'll explain how all of that works. So it's now May, early May. You're not going to get your interview until at least the 1st of October, and very few people will get interviewed as early as that. So you have to be prepared to be a little bit patient here. Don't go and quit your job. Don't sell your house. Don't sell your car. Don't do those things, because you're going to have to wait for some time. It's not a quick process. And if I were you, I wouldn't tell very many people that you've won the lottery at this point. Just keep that between yourself and your immediate family. You don't need to go and sort of spread it around town or anything like that, because some people, may be jealous. They may tell you incorrect information. There's all sorts of things that go on. So just be a little bit cautious about your win and who you tell, and keep some of your information private as well. Don't tell everybody your case number. Just keep things a little bit, quiet at the moment. Okay, let's talk about case numbers. Your case number will have been given to you on the top of the letter that says, congratulations, you're selected. It's shown on there. There's a couple of things that are important about that. Number one, it shows you the year of the lottery that you're in. So your number will start with the number 2023. That's obviously the year. The next two letters denote the region that you come from. Okay, it's not necessarily the place you live today. It's not really important from that point of view, but it is important that that region matches your country of birth. There are some mistakes that people have made already. Some people will have made a mistake with their country of birth, for example, and those sort of mistakes can be very serious. But first thing is, you should have, if you're from Africa, for example, if you were born in Africa, you should have the first two letters that you see within that number after the 2023 will be AF, okay? And then you have your case number, which will be a number of zeros which I call leading zeros, and then the first real number of your case number. Let's say your case number is 2023 AF 000-12345. That's 12,345, right? So that's your case number. When you talk to me about your case number, you simply need to tell me 2023 AF and then 12 with 3 X's behind it, denoting a 12,000 series range. I don't need to know your precise number, and nor does anybody else, right? But you can say you're the 12,000 range to give me and others a bit of an idea of where your number is. So maybe your case number is in the 5,000 range or in the 50,000 range. Whatever range it is, it's helpful for me to know that case number when you talk to me and ask me questions, okay? So the regions are AF for Africa, EU for Europe, obviously, AS for Asia. There's a region called North America with almost no selectees in that, very, very, very little used region. Then there are 2 smaller regions, South America and Oceania. Okay, so your case number is going to be 2023 AF, 2023 EU, AS, OC, or SA, right? And then some number behind it. The SA, the South America and Oceania numbers are much lower than every other region. And a couple of points, there could be a case number, Africa case number 1000. That same case number could also exist in the Europe region, the Asia region, and so on. Other regions could have the same number. Each of the regions is actually its own numbering system, okay? And on your case number, that case number includes you as the main selectee, the main principal applicant, plus any family members that you have on your case, right? So your spouse and your kids, right? Okay, so you're already learning quite a bit of information about your case number, which is incredibly important. You probably don't realize yet the importance of your case number. It really means a lot. So it's a good thing that you're learning about that. Okay, so let me go back to the process a little bit and talk about the steps that I mentioned earlier. You fill in the DS260. You don't need to rush about that. And when I say you don't need to rush, you need to take your time to be able to make sure you fill in things accurately, okay? I'd like you to at least listen to the end of this video to make sure you haven't already made a mistake in your application before you fill in your DS260. At least listen to the end of the video, okay? Because if you've made certain mistakes, there are no ways to fix some mistakes. And if you've made certain fatal mistakes, critical mistakes, then frankly, it's better off you don't fill in the DS260, okay? So you can fill in your DS260. Once you've finished this video, you could fill in your DS260 straight away. There are some of you that, because of your case number order, you're going to be waiting a long time anyway, because the lowest case numbers go first. That's kind of how it works, right? So if your case number is, let's go crazy and say your 2023 EU case number 10, right? That's a very, very low number. And if you fill in your DS260 quickly and process your documents quickly, you send in your documents, etc., you've got a very good chance of having an early interview, let's say in October or November of this year. If, on the other hand, your case number is, let's say, 2023 AF 65,000, there is no way in the world you're going to get an interview in October or November of this year. Okay, so you're going to have to be much more patient. So that's literally how it goes. It's the lowest numbers will go first, the highest numbers will wait until later for processing. Okay, that does mean there's a bit more risk for higher case numbers, and so yeah, we'll talk about that later. But in any case, go into your DS260. It's available in the system. You've been given instructions already in your selection letter how to access that DS260. And you need to spend an hour or two in carefully going through that DS260 form and answer it as completely and honestly as you can. Honesty is incredibly important in this process. If you lie at any point, if you make a mistake and give not complete information, that can be critical and cause disqualification of your case. Okay, so please be very careful to be honest and accurate in the way you're filling out your DS260. Okay, that's the first thing. And we'll come on to documents, etc. In due course, but since they're not needed immediately, I'm not going to talk very much more about the documents you need to provide on this particular video. I would just say that when you entered the lottery in DV 2023, there was a rule about the passport that you had to have a valid passport. Now that rule has actually been blocked by an American court. The government was sued for the way that they implemented that rule. And so if you did or didn't provide a legitimate, valid passport at the time you entered, it now doesn't matter. You will need a passport to go through the process. But if you chose one of the exceptions that said you were somehow exempt from giving the passport, in previous years, that has caused some difficulties for some cases, but now it's not a problem because that rule has been struck down. And so that rule won't apply to your case, okay? Now let's talk about the current sort of status of processing. Over the last 2 to 3 years since the COVID crisis, there's been a lot of difficulties in the program. There's been, firstly, a lot of embassies were just closed. When they reopened, they didn't reopen fully. They opened with limited numbers of people working at the embassies, etc. And a big backlog of immigration cases in general has built up. And now, at this very moment in time, the government has reopened almost all of the embassies, but they're prioritizing cases other than diversity lottery in some embassies. And so there have been a series of lawsuits against the American government. The lawsuits have generally been positive and have won, and the government have changed their behavior to some extent. But there are still, right now, there are still problems. We're still dealing with problems, and the lawsuits are continuing right now. And there are some appeals where the government are appealing some of the decisions that they have lost. There's all sorts of legal stuff going on, right? But in DV 2023, I'm hopeful that that will be less impactful to your cases. And so, you know, although you will come to hear about all of the lawsuits and the legal problems and the challenges with the embassies, I'm hoping that by the time you're actually processing your cases, by the time they're starting interviews in October and November and December of this year, I'm hoping things will be more back to normal for you, and that your cases will be processed in a normal manner. I hope so, but you need to sort of stay in contact and make sure you're subscribed to my channel, make sure you're reading my blog in order to get the latest information about that, okay? That's extremely important. Okay, let me talk about some critical mistakes that you may have already made. There are essentially two big mistakes that people make when they're entering the lottery. The first mistake is that they sometimes, for whatever reason, they pick a country of chargeability, which is not their country of birth. They may be, let's say they're born in South Africa, but they're living in Paris right now. In France, and so for some reason they put down France as being their country of chargeability because they're living there, or perhaps because they've got a citizenship in France or whatever else. That's a mistake. If you've made a similar mistake, if your country of birth is not how you've applied for the lottery, then you may have already made a mistake that will ruin your chances. Okay. There are some specific nuances about that, but the first thing that I want to say is if you have made that mistake, don't fill in your DS260 yet and get some more information. I'll be publishing a video specifically about those sort of mistakes, and I can answer questions on my blog also. I can answer questions one-to-one. And so I'll be able to tell you whether the mistake you made about the country of birth is going to be a problem or not. Generally speaking, if you chose a country of chargeability, that is within the same region as your own region, generally speaking, that won't be a big deal. But if you chose a country to charge to, which is not in your region, that is a very big deal and can cause a problem in your case. You may be married, you may have got, and if you are married to someone from a different country, you can in some cases use their country to apply. You can in some cases use the country of one of your parents to apply. Those things are possible, but then they're nuances that we need to go through the detail and make sure that you've not made a mistake there. The other thing that I see common, very, very common mistake that I see that is absolutely the end of your case is if you left anybody off of your original entry. If you are married, but you said you're single, if you didn't include one of the children you have, including your spouse's children, a stepchild of yours, or any child that is under 21 and not married, if there's an eligible derivative that you left off of your original application, then absolutely your case will be disqualified. There is no working around that particular mistake. If you made that mistake, if you pretended to be single, or you pretended that you didn't have a derivative that you should have listed, or for whatever reason you just didn't list that person, then your case is over already. It's as simple as that. There is no way you can fix that. Every year I have people who say, well, I couldn't get a photo from my ex-wife of the kids, and so I didn't include the kids on the entry. How do I get around that? There's no way you can get around that. Okay, there is no solution if you chose not to include a derivative. It's the end of your case. It's as simple as that. And I'm sorry to be so brutally honest, but frankly, I prefer to be brutally honest with you to save you the pain of continuing down the process. And you've told all of your family and your friends you're going to go and live in America, and all of a sudden you have to come to the realization that you've already made a terrible mistake that has cost you the whole chance. Okay, and then all you'd have to do is you'd have to try again in another year and hope that you win again. But so that's the other very big mistake. So two big mistakes. One is not including a derivative that you should have included, a beneficiary, a spouse, or a child that you should have included. And the other is the country that you listed as being your country of chargeability. Okay. And the country of chargeability connects to the region that you're associated with. And so that's, so very often I have people who say, well, I'm from Nepal, but I'm living in Australia, so I've got an OC number. Well, sorry, that probably means your case is over, depending on the situation, unless you're married to an Australian, for example. Okay, so that's we've covered those bits of information. So you now know about the DS260. You know that later you're going to have to provide some documents. You know you're going to have to go for a medical examination, and you're going to have a face-to-face interview. Those interviews are extremely simple, normally 5 to 10 minutes in length. No big deal about the interviews, but you've got a long way to wait. And all of this process is going to take some months to go through. Okay. You've also learned about case numbers a little bit. You've learned about the regions. You understand about case numbers a little bit. And you've learned about the two most critical mistakes that you can make. And hopefully you've understood from me that you need to be accurate and honest in this application all the way through. Now, if any of that is confusing to you, by all means, you can send me a message on my blog. Have a blog at BritSimonSays.com. The link to that is in the description under the YouTube video. You can ask me questions on YouTube. And so, please do take advantage of my willingness to help you. I'm not going to charge you any money. I'm going to give you accurate information. You're better off asking information than trying to guess it yourself. And many people give bad information. People will tell you, oh, I know someone who won the lottery in 2006 and they told me this and that. Well, forget about their information. They're not up to date. and they may only have 1 or 2 people that they know. Don't proceed with this process through an agent. You don't need to pay anyone, and using an agent who you pay is a good way to get ripped off by that agent. You're giving your information, your personal information, to somebody else. I hope you didn't enter the lottery through anyone else, and you shouldn't be giving your information to any other party. Okay, it's between it's between you and applying for the government. You can do this whole process yourself. Okay, that's probably the main topics I wanted to discuss with you. There's a lot to this process. There's a lot of information that I'm not going to discuss today, but right now I should imagine your head is spinning with excitement. You've won the lottery. You think you're moving to America like immediately. And you're understandably excited but a bit confused by the process. So calm down, enjoy your win, but then let's get to work and make sure that we can get your green card for you to make sure you get your opportunity. And I'll take you through the process step by step, so that you don't miss out. Okay. All right, everybody, please do make sure you're subscribed to my channel. That's the best way to make sure you hear about new information. You can, as well, you can go to my blog. I already gave the address, BritSimonSays.com. But please do, make sure you ask questions. And if you can, try and read all the instructions before you take any action, okay? In the letter you were given online that said you've been selected, there's a link in there that provides full instructions. Now, the instructions are not always easy to follow, and that's why I help people out. But it is worthwhile reading all the instructions from beginning to end. Okay, take a few minutes. This is a life-changing opportunity for you. Please take it seriously, and understand what it means. So it's worth it. Okay, this is an opportunity to live and work in America. This is not a visitor's visa. This is an opportunity to live and work in America. You can come here, you can work, you don't need permission to travel around. America is a very free country. You can do any job you want, you can live anywhere in America you want. It really is an amazing opportunity if you're coming from other countries which perhaps aren't as free, aren't as wealthy, and don't have the same opportunity that you do in America. It's not for everybody. I would say that it's not something that everybody has to proceed with. There are going to be people this year, out of the 100,000 or so winners, there will be people who probably won't proceed with their win because they entered the lottery, but they're not that bothered about living in America. It's not a big deal. It's not going to be easy to go through the process, and moving to a new country is not easy. So if your heart's not in it, then there's no harm in saying, you know what, I'm not going to go ahead. I'm not going to proceed. That's a good choice too. Okay, so please do understand what you want to do and follow the process carefully, and make sure that if you do want the green card, you've got the best chance of getting it. Okay, I think I covered everything. Thanks for listening in. Thanks for your time. And I know we'll be talking again soon. So I'll see you later. All right. Bye-bye.